Hi, my name is Camilla Baker. I am a meditation teacher. I've been a primary school teacher for about 20 years, hence the slightly white hairs. And I'm very lucky to live at Owlets, which is here behind me, which is the home of my great-grandfather, Herbert Baker. Yeah, I've been a primary school teacher for a long time, and really happy to not be a primary school teacher anymore. I loved it, but it's time for something else, and to try and just work better, not work so crazy hard. And I think, yeah, COVID really taught us how much we need primary school teachers, but also how hard it is. And I became a mum quite late in life, so my little boy is now 6, and I had him when I was 40, and it's a chance to sort of start something new and to spend more time with him. And I've been really grateful for that. You know, with COVID, we had so much time to be here to enjoy these grounds. So yeah, I feel very lucky, feel very blessed by everything. Herbert Baker Furniture was an idea that's been scratching around in the back of my head for about 10 years. When we first moved back here, my sister-in-law found these 2 benches that I remembered from my childhood. They'd always been here, they'd always been part of the background. And she saw that they were falling apart and that they were very beautiful. So they've been hiding now, they've been preserved in a greenhouse for the past 10 years. They make a very good place for a late summer dinner. But they're beautiful. There's this thing about the furniture that Herbert designed. He's known as an architect, but actually he also built furniture, and he was a great believer in having things that were beautifully made, that were very practical and were comfortable too. And so this bench that he designed, I went up to the archives where he left all his work, the architecture archives in London, and I found the original drawing that he had done. It's all scribbled away, and there's these beautiful huge sheets of drawings of things that he had done in India and Africa, often done on the back of geological surveys because paper was very in short supply at that time. So he's done all these drawings, and the drawing of the Owlets bench is on one sheet. There's drawings about Owlets, of the dining room chairs. There are drawings of the governor's chair for the chair for the governor of Sudan. So Herbert Baker was designing furniture for people all around the world, but he always had this sort of harking back to home. And he came back to Owlets in the 1920s, and that real ethos of arts and crafts, of things should be useful and beautiful, and otherwise don't have them. You know, that real sense of, if you're going to do it well. I've been a meditation teacher now for 8 years, and that's my favourite thing to teach. You know, I've taught many children many things, but meditation, you see this transformation that people have, of like, oh, actually I can be that happy, that this is already inherently within me. So with COVID, obviously, I always teach meditation face-to-face. With COVID, people were staying much more at home. They were both more stressed and also less available to come and visit. So I ended up doing some things online, which was great, and we reached out in different ways. But ultimately, there's a dissatisfaction to being online, isn't there? I think we've all the Zoom fatigue is strong and real. And again, we were sort of pushed back to what we had. We're pushed back to our families, pushed back to our histories, pushed back to kind of what resources do we have within us. So for me, that actually drawing upon Owlets as a real strength as a place was really powerful. Like, I was really able to be here and connect again into the nature and the power of being outside. I began looking at business things. There were some business opportunities around. I had a chat on the phone with a guy called Tony, and we talked about the meditation business and what, the different grants that may or may not be available to it. And then while he's on the phone, I was sitting on a very uncomfortable bench, I remember, at school, because I hadn't got out of school early enough. I was working too hard. And I said to him, I did have this one other idea. I've just been sort of scratching around, like, maybe because you're a businessman, you can just talk it through with me. And I told him about the bench and about how we would do it, and he was very supportive. And he said straight away, you've got to trademark it, you've got to organise the IP, all these things that I had been avoiding. But he just had the expertise he came with it as an approach of course this would work. Of course it could be a business. It may or may not work, and they've always been very clear about that. Whether a business works or not is kind of in the hands of the gods. But that to talk to an actual business person who's run businesses, and I don't know people who've done that sort of thing before. So for me, even the first conversation, just like, oh, can I just ask you this question? And here we are, not even a year later, and our prototype is arriving today. We're taking photographs. I've got my first order. I'm shipping off. I'm learning how to ship to America. Things that I was a primary school teacher. It was sort of nowhere in my radar. But it had been, like, this idea had been scratching around for a long time on the basis that I thought someone else should do it. And it turns out it needs to be me doing it. So I've learnt a lot about myself. So last summer I did a couple of the sort of whole day business courses. They were great. Again, all on Zoom, so there's a certain amount of, listening, and my son was running around doing whatever he was doing. There's always a bit of multitasking going on. I have this image of had a stand-up desk and like listening and trying to concentrate and making loads of notes. And I remember at the end of each session just going, wow, I've got a lot of homework. That sense of there's a lot to do. There's a lot that I don't know. And actually what I found in a way the most helpful is that resource of the people, that being able to talk. I've had different advisors along the way, and they've been very patient with me. It's like, you need to sort out the IP, you need to sort out a trademark, and I didn't want to own a trademark. That seemed like something very complicated, and again that I was claiming this for myself. I now own the trademark. So the resources have been amazing. There's different courses, and again, always on a course you meet other people. Even via Zoom you hear there was somebody doing a dry cleaning business, somebody else setting up an English language school, and I remember thinking, God, I'm so glad I'm not doing that. That just sounds like just something I would, especially the teaching ones, I just don't want to do anything with education for a while. But actually that they had their heart and soul in it, and that's what makes it or breaks it. I mean, anyone offering free money is my friend. At first I was like, great, I'm sure I could think of something to spend some money on to teach meditation. Turns out that the grant wasn't available for the meditation business because I've been running it for more than 3 years. And what we have got the full grant for is what's happening today, the photography. We're having photography done, really high quality photography of me, but also mostly of the bench and of what we're trying to sell, to make some really high-end marketing materials. So yeah, having that investment, that belief from the other people as well, has made a massive difference. So give it a go. Again, if you've got a little idea at the back of your head, phone them up and ask, because you never know. Here I am a year later. There's a couple of things around the grant. The grant comes, and obviously it's practically very helpful. You haven't got to invest so much for yourself, but also someone else is believing that your idea is real. That often as an entrepreneur you can just think, I'm crazy. My family just all looked at me and said, well, it's a very expensive bench, and that was kind of it. And it's true, it is. But actually some other people with that objective, they've got the objective view, the objectivity to say, actually yes, this will work, and that this could and that won't, which is really helpful.